called Living the Life More Fabulous, and we are giving away two signed copies today. And all you need to do to enter is like our Facebook page and comment below. You can ask a question of Tricia. She'll be answering as many questions as we can possibly get through today. So, Tricia, tell us about the book. What prompted you to write it?
The book was really prompted by the blog post that I write every week. Ever since I started the business, I've been sending out a blog to our newsletter subscribers every week on a subject that interests me as an older woman living in the world today, and I get so much engagement from that. I get a lot of comments and questions and so on, and so the issues that I was sort of getting feedback and which were resonating with our customers were things around obviously makeup, but also style and hair and confidence and what they were doing with the rest of their lives and all that kind of thing, and how they felt about being an older woman, and also exercise, nutrition, and really everything about living well when you're older. And I just kept thinking, I think there's a book in this, and fortunately I was approached by some agents in London who said we can find you a publisher, and that's what happened. So I wrote the book and it was published last week, so it's very exciting. Yeah.
And how long, your brand, Look Fabulous Forever, has been going for a few years now, hasn't it?
Yes, we launched in October 2013.
And you launched because obviously you found there was nothing similar out there. There was nothing available specifically for older people.
Well, I launched it for a couple of reasons. One was I was finding it difficult to source products which worked really well on my older face. I found it very frustrating as a process, and I kept thinking I could do better than this, and maybe I could draw it under one umbrella and say all of these products really work brilliantly when you're older. And the second thing was I was really concerned that the beauty industry was quite keen on selling me stuff with an anti-aging label attached to it. And as a then 65-year-old, I was perfectly happy being that age. And I kept thinking, why can't we be pro-age? Why can't we see this as a positive time in our life rather than something we've got to, efface with anti-aging, which of course is a bit of a nonsense anyway.
There's this really sort of negative thing about aging, isn't there? Why is that? What can we do to change it, to sort of stop people thinking about aging in such a negative way?
That's such a big question.
It's kind of a big question, isn't it?
How do we change such a deeply ageist society? I mean, it's one of the things that I really want to do. One of the things that I think we could change is that to feel that you're part of a society, you have to see yourself reflected back in some way. So for instance, if I go to the hairdresser, wouldn't it be great if one of those beautiful photographs that they've got in there was of an older woman with a great haircut? If I go into a beauty hall, wouldn't it be great if some of those images that I saw were of a woman of my age? Wouldn't it be great if on the television, alongside the older men that you see in primetime television, you saw some older women? It's a question really of visibility and of actually seeing yourself within the society as part of that society and a valued part of it.
We did a survey actually last year on Gransnet about invisibility and at what age people think they become invisible. And for women, it was 10 years before it affects men, which was really interesting.
I think it is, and I think the reason for that is because we tend to think of men as they age as becoming sort of wiser and, the silver fox syndrome, even more attractive, and the opposite
for women
is for women. So we think that they become less good at what they can, what they're doing, and actually their looks have gone. So you've got all of that prejudice. Which is also sexist, of course, as well as ageist. Yeah. So
I know one of the questions that was on Gransnet was about you specifically and what you do. What's your skincare? You look fantastic. What is your skincare routine? What do you do for your makeup? What's your routine?
What's my routine? Skincare, I think, is essential. Not as an anti-aging process, but just to keep the skin in the best possible condition that you can have it. I'm a great believer in, I use 3 products on my skin every morning. People say, how long does that take you? What a faff. But actually, you know what? It doesn't take long if you've got a routine. The first thing I put on after I've cleansed my face is something called hyaluronic acid, which is naturally occurring in the body. It's humectant, which draws moisture to the skin and holds it there, so it's a brilliant product. I then put on a serum, which is actually a Boots one, Protect and Perfect, which I love, and then on top of that I put a moisturiser with an SPF of 30, which I know will protect my face. And then I start my makeup routine, and for that I obviously use Look Fabulous Forever products, all of which work together brilliantly. So I put on the face, the eye, the lip products, and to get the finished effect. And the whole thing takes me about 20 minutes, which I know some people out there will be watching this thinking, 20 minutes? But I only do it once a day, and I don't touch my face again.
Really? You don't do
till
any touch-ups or
bedtime.
anything?
Well, I touch my lipstick up a bit, because that tends to get affected by drinking and eating. Yeah. But if I'm going out in the evening, I literally do not need to touch my face.
Okay. Wow. Well, don't forget, if you're just joining us, that you can win. We're giving away 2 copies of Tricia's book. And all you need to do is like our Facebook page and comment, ask a question of Tricia. So there are a few questions that we've had, so I'm going to put them to you now. We've got, I am lucky to have lovely skin and good bone structure, but I would love to understand and master the skill of contouring. What's the difference between highlighting, contouring, blushing and strobing? I would love to know the answer to this.
Okay, I'll try and answer that question. So contouring is all about making your face, altering the shape of your face with light and dark shading. I think you have to be quite careful with contouring if you are older. A lot of the young ones do it so they look good in selfies.
Yes, it's more sort of a camera
it's
kind
very
of thing.
Much that.
Than
Yes, you might look brilliant in your selfie, but not so good if you go down to the supermarket. So you have to be really careful. It has to be very well blended. But the whole idea, so for instance, highlighting is about highlighting those areas of your face that catch the light, so bones. Right. So top of the cheekbones, top of the brow bones here, that's quite a good place to put highlighter. Okay. And then the shading side of it, which you could use perhaps a bit of bronzer or something like that. So here, down the sides of your face, to make your face, to give you that sort of beautiful high cheekbone look. You can put a little bit underneath your chin to reduce the jowling here. So just shade that area slightly. So it's about drawing attention to those areas that you want to be more prominent and then reducing attention from the areas that you want to disappear, if that helps.
Yes, it does. So eyebrows is another issue that comes up quite a lot. Any tips for extremely sparse eyebrows?
I do have tips. In fact, we have a product at Look Fabulous Forever which is called Brow Shape, and it comes with a spoolie brush. And I came up with the idea for my sister-in-law, who has no eyebrows due to a thyroid problem, so everything else is fine. And she was really embarrassed, and she was kind of drawing on quite unreal-looking eyebrows with a pencil. So what we have is a very fine brush and almost like liquid paint, and you literally use fine feathery strokes. Now we have a video showing you how, and we have ways to illustrate that. Yes, so it looks like a portrait painter has produced the effect of eyebrows on you. I've got it on myself. I have eyebrows that finish about here. So none of this is real, but it does look very realistic, and it's one of our top sellers, and it's a top seller because that problem is very common. Your eyebrows are either too pale, you've overplucked them, so they've disappeared, or they're growing in really weird ways. Mine have got this sort of Dennis Healy effect. I think you remember him, and he used to have wild eyebrows, and mine have gone a bit wild. So I pluck them out, and I just replace it with Brow Shape.
With nice and neat, sort of.
It's really, really good.
So another question is primer as important as everyone says?
I think it's essential, and the reason that the 3 first products that I came up with for the range were primers: face prime, eye prime, lip prime. They all do something slightly different. So why it's essential is because as you age, you have much thirstier skin, so it sucks the makeup in fast. Face primer will stop that.
Is that what then has it sort of then
Yeah, it kind of cakes. It also doesn't look too even. Your skin is less smooth when you're older. So my point about face primer, it does two things. It smooths the skin and it also holds the makeup for longer. And when I say I don't take my makeup off until bedtime, that's because I'm wearing a primer. Now you can save time by mixing a little bit of primer with your foundation. So a squirt of both on back of your hand, swirl it together with a brush and then apply it together, and that saves time and you've got the effect.
So you don't have to put the primer on first and then the foundation?
You don't have to, you can if you have time. However, a great one for cutting corners in a good way, so that will definitely work. So yes, and a lot of older women don't know about primers, so I'd say get yourself a face primer and you will be amazed at the difference.
So we have another question on concealer. What's the best concealer for dark shadows under the eyes at 60 plus, cream or liquid?
Okay, so the answer to that is, again, we've just made a new video on this. A good thing to do, there's two things you can do if you've got really dark under eye circles. One is to use a colour neutraliser. Now if the colour here is a blue tint, the colour neutraliser you need is peach coloured. So it will warm it up. So you put a little bit of peach neutraliser on and then a creamy concealer, I would suggest. Put it on with a brush, dab it in first and then put your foundation on top. And you should find that with the colour neutraliser, some concealer and then the foundation on top, that the problem has gone. And if there is any further problem after you've put your foundation, just put a little bit more concealer on top. But I would say on an older skin, a creamy concealer is always preferable to a powdery one.
Will the powder sort of sit in the lines?
It will sit in the lines, and actually if you use a creamy one and use the warmth of your finger to press it into the skin so that you don't drag it off. Pat it into the skin. And what I do, if I use a concealer, I've got these sort of blue areas in the corner of my nose here. I'll put some in there, tiny little bit of translucent powder with a fine brush and just dot it on, and it will set it. And then it will look perfect all day. And
the colour concealer, is that something that you have?
Colour neutraliser.
That's what you have in your range as well?
Yeah, we have two. So we have a peach one, and then if you've got any red patches, so acne rosacea or anything that looks reddish, we've got a green coloured neutraliser which takes the redness away, and you do the same process. Put it on first, bit of concealer, foundation on top.
There was a few questions on hair and hair care. Are you happy to answer those?
I am. I'm not the expert, but for my book, I have a chapter on hair, and I talked to 3 different hairdressers and got lots of tips from them. So I might be able to help.
Okay. Well, so Banana Grand says, my hair, which was never thick, seems to have stopped growing and looks thinner and thinner. I'm struggling with ways to disguise this. What can I do?
Well, I think my advice to you with hair is always to consult a hairdresser, talk to them, because a good hairdresser will find very clever ways to cut your hair so that it looks the best it can be. And they will also advise on products, because there are some really good volumizing and thickening products out there. If you're really worried about hair loss and you think that it's excessive, or you do think you've got a problem, always go to the doctor and talk to them. Remember that hair is affected by your general health and well-being, so the quality of the food that you eat, everything that you're doing to make yourself feel well will affect how well your hair looks, how good your hair looks. So I would always consult a doctor if you're really worried, because a blood test will determine whether there is an underlying problem, and the sooner you get advice on it, the more likely you are to stop it continuing.
And I know you address confidence as well as an issue in the books. I mean, what general tips would you give to sort of people to sort of improve your confidence?
Before I launched Look Fabulous Forever, I was a management training consultant, and I did a lot of work running courses for people at work about confidence. And I see confidence as both an internal thing and an external thing. So it's how you feel inside, and what kind of impression of confidence do you give to other people. For the inside bit, that's really about self-esteem, it's about how good you feel about yourself and so on. One of the problems of getting older is that because we live in this ageist society, and you don't feel particularly valued, you can start to value yourself less. So I've got some great tips in the book about how you can build your confidence back up again, and feel okay about yourself, so that you're walking around, you know, with your head up, looking like a confident person, because you've actually said, you know what, I might be older, but I'm still perfectly valid as a human being, and I require that you treat me in that way. So, and that internal sense of confidence then tends to, you know, come out in the way that you behave. But things like watching your body language, so, you know, how you go into a room, how you stand, how you talk to somebody, giving people good eye contact, all of that things signals I'm a confident person. So there's all sorts of ways, I call it the confidence trick, that you can actually give the impression of confidence even if you're not feeling it particularly.
Yes, and they always say, don't they? You can sort of fake it until you make it, kind of
Absolutely,
thing. And that
absolutely.
Does
and people remember that people make up their mind about you in about the first 15 seconds or so after on meeting you. So control that first impression, and then they will tend to think, oh, you know, she's a very confident person, and they'll carry on looking for that confidence.
Go back to Facebook and see if there are any questions here that we can ask. So, I've had hints of grey hair since my teens. I never bothered colouring it, but now it looks dull. Any suggestions for making this look less dull? I don't want to colour it. So
it's going. You think it's going grey, or it is grey?
It sounds like it's going grey.
There are some good products on the market for brightening hair. There's a wonderful range called White Hot Hair by a very good friend of mine, Jane Maylard. She started her business at the same time that I started mine.
Did you?
Yes, and I know her quite well. And they've got some great brightening products for white hair.
I know they've been mentioned on Gransnet a bit, actually. They're
definitely worth a look there. What I do for mine, because I've gradually gone grey, the back of my hair is now completely grey, the front is not so grey, and it's kind of mixed with brown. So I have silver highlights put in my hair at the front. So I just now have this strip at the front done, and that's a sort of brighter colour than the rest, but it's around my face, and I think it makes a lot of difference to have, you know, how bright my hair looks as opposed to dull, because it can look quite dull.
As you get older, do you think people get stuck in sort of makeup or beauty ruts because they've always done things a certain way, and then as you get older, obviously, like you said, you know, your skin changes all the time, and you know, some products or sort of things may not look as good as they used to, or you know, you may suit other things like this, particularly colours, particularly your hair colours changing as well if you are going grey. There is that.
It was one of the reasons that I started the business, and we have lots and lots and lots of videos, and the thing about the videos, which are on the website and on YouTube, is that we are giving you the benefit of the latest ideas for applying the makeup, the latest ideas on products and so on. So the stuck in the rut bit that you mentioned is a very, very prevalent problem when you're older. And I think it's because same old, you've done it this way, carry on doing it. It doesn't quite work.
No.
So, you know, just reappraising what you're doing every now and again is really helpful.
Really important. So someone else has said, how can I get the perfect colour lipstick? I have a drawer full of not quite rights.
Yeah.
I suppose, do I match my eyes or my hair?
Neither. You match to your skin tone, and that's where people go wrong. So your underlying skin tone is either blue or yellow. Mine is blue, so I'm cool toned. If you're cool toned, we have advice on this. We also have 2 videos about this if you're not sure. But for me, a terrible colour would be orange or rust or yellow, because I'm cool toned, not warm toned. If you're warm toned, you would look great in those colours. So this affects
your colour scheme that you wear as well as your
It affects clothes,
your
absolutely. So I've got really cool toned lipsticks on, earrings on, and this top is obviously very pale grey, it's cool toned. Now, if you know that you're cool-toned or warm-toned and you can work it out, and again, we've got hints and tips for how to do that, you will never buy the wrong lipstick again. And our lipsticks are grouped into cool tones and warm tones.
That's useful.
And one of the reasons that she says she's got a drawer full of lipsticks, if she's got a blue base to her skin, she needs a blue base to her lipstick. So her lipsticks need to be colours like cherry, plum, true pinks, fuchsia, they're the colours that I wear. If you're warm toned, you need to be wearing browny oranges, browny pinks. You need to be wearing, nudes look good on you, caramel colours.
Yeah.
We've got a colour called Rosewood, which is a pinky brown. We've got a lovely colour called Foxy Lady, which is quite a vivid orangey brown. As soon as you put the right tone lipstick on, your face lights up.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Great. Do you have or possibly plan to add a BB or CC cream to your range? Can you recommend a good one, preferably with a high sun protection?
We are. In fact, it's in development at the moment. We've just given the go-ahead for it. So we will be introducing that into the range within the next 2 or 3 months. We're actually waiting for the containers to come in. So yes, we are developing that, and it's quite exciting for us because I think it's going to be really brilliant. A lot of women don't want to wear a proper foundation. They think it looks too heavy, so they love a tinted moisturiser.
Okay.
As to a good one, I would recommend Clarins has a lovely tinted moisturiser, which I have used in the past. Bobbi Brown has another one. She does a really lovely jar of moisturiser, and I think it's about £40 for the pot. But it's a beautiful product.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Well, that actually is quite good actually, because someone else has said, are there really any benefits in buying high-end expensive cosmetics and creams, or are we being conned? How do you feel about the whole?
I'm a little bit torn here. I just think that really cheap cosmetics tend to come in from places like China. That's why they're so cheap. The testing regimes and so on aren't quite so stringent. We have a very, very stringent testing regime within Europe for products produced within Europe. All our products are produced in the UK. I'm very proud of that because I like the work that we do directly with our cosmetic manufacturer. We know that we're only putting in really good ingredients, and that they've all been thoroughly tested, not on animals, which is really important to us. So I think you can buy cheaper. Some of them work perfectly well. The origins of those is not quite so clear cut, let's put it that way. So I think if you find something that's really not expensive and you love it and it works, who am I to say? Use it.
Do your research as well, maybe?
Do your research, yes. But if something is more expensive, it tends to be formulated with really good quality ingredients. And as I said, the regulatory regime and so on and so forth is very stringent around those things.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
Can you advise which foundation is best to cover a few deep-set wrinkles? I've spent loads trying and still not managed to look I'm happy with.
Well, I would say if you've got deep-set wrinkles, wear a primer.
Okay.
I think the primer will help with that quite a lot and will help to make whatever foundation you then put on top look better.
Okay.
I mean, you'd expect me to say, but our foundation is extremely light in terms of when you're wearing it, you don't feel it's heavy on, but it has fantastic coverage.
Okay.
So with something like that, some primer and a small amount of foundation applied with a brush.
Okay.
So that you get the best possible finish that you can. Yeah.
And someone, back to eyebrows again, someone said, what do you think about eyebrow tattoos? Are they the way to go? Or what are the else?
Again, personal choice. I'd never have one because I'd be terrified of the effect, and it's
wrong?
Permanent.
I know, that's the thing.
I know. However, I also think we're having an eyebrow moment at the moment. You know, there's a fashion for quite heavy eyebrows. What's going to happen when that fashion passes, which it will?
Yeah.
You know, are the young girls that I see around, are they all going to look slightly strange because they've got these very, very predominant eyebrows? I think when you're older, something a bit softer and a bit lighter is much more flattering. Okay. And I would say you can create that effect with makeup, and you can take it off every evening.
Yes.
And you don't run the risk of something awful happening.
No, fair enough.
But if you know of a good person and you've thoroughly personally recommended a good person, and a friend's had it done and she looks amazing, then I'd say
that's the way to go.
Trust in that. Yeah.
So this is the last question, I'm afraid. We're almost out of time, but it is, I've got soft down here on the sides of my face. How do I get rid of it? I have an epilator for my upper lip, but don't want to start a problem with using it on the rest of my face.
Again, I'm not sure I can answer that particularly well. I think you'd have to be very careful about what you did in terms of removing it, because you know, if you started removing it aggressively, then it might stimulate further growth, and you know, you'd end up with a problem with that.
There's quite a lot on Gransnet about facial hair removal and
yes,
and that kind
you
of
know,
thing.
obviously facial hair removal from those areas which like upper lip and so on, and your eyebrows and so on and so forth. I think just with, you know, you can make a lot of difference with makeup, and you're probably more conscious of it yourself than other people are conscious of it.
Notice.
Yeah, draw attention to your eyes, all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry I can't help very much with that one.
No, that's fine. That's absolutely fine. We have the Gransnet questionnaire. I have a few little questions from Gransnet for you. Is who is your ultimate beauty icon?
Do you know what? I've really been thinking about this. The person that I just love, and I hope I look as good as her in 10 plus years' time, is Judi Dench. She is a very beautiful woman, and she's very striking, and she just, I tell you why I love her, is because she has this sort of gleam in her eye, and she has quite a wicked sense of humour, and she has kept that, and I think that she's just wonderful. I love her. I think she's very beautiful. I love the way that, you know, her face is made up. I love the short hair that she has. I think she's gorgeous, and I as I said, I think she's about 82, when I'm 82, I really hope that I can look as sort of vibrant and happy and joyful and gorgeous as she does.
She looks glamorous and approachable, doesn't she? She's sort of got that kind of and fun, really fun.
Yes, and she's not tall and willowy like a model. She's not any of those things. Yeah. She's real and yet so elegant, and I just think she's wonderful.
So now the book has been published. What's next for you this year?
Oh my goodness! Well, do you know what we're doing? The week after next, we're going to LA because we have product going in the Oscar goodie bags. Would you believe?
Oh my goodness! Wow!
How mad is that?
That's a coup.
So yeah, that's a coup. And so our 3 primers, the face, the eye, and the lip primers, are going to the So all the people who are nominated for Oscars will receive some Look Fabulous Forever product.
Oh well, can I just step in there and say that anyone who is following us on Facebook, Gransnet will be doing a competition very shortly. So do sign up to our newsletter to be sort of kept abreast of what's going on. But we are doing a competition, and you could be in with the chance of winning a bundle of Tricia's primers, the same as in the Oscar goodie bag.
Absolutely.
So there you go. You could have the same as in the Oscar goodie bag.
Yeah.
And what about Gransnet? What do you think about Gransnet? Have you used Gransnet very much? What do you?
Well, what I love about Gransnet is it's the same as the sort of feeling that we get within our business, and that's this thing about belonging to something where you find like-minded people. I think one of the most reassuring things, especially when you're older, is to find people with ideas and opinions and all that kind of thing that resonate with you, and finding a resource like Gransnet where those things are shared and where you feel like you belong to something that's bigger, but you feel a real membership of it. I think that's incredibly useful and helpful, and I do think it's one of the things that people get from say commenting on the blog post that I write and so on and so forth. It's just nice to know there are other people out there and you're not all alone.
It's funny,
have a conversation with them.
Being online kind of gets such a bad rap sometimes, but actually for those sort of things, for community and sort of, you know, it's invaluable. It's
incredibly important, and I actually just think it makes life richer and better. Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you so much for coming on. It's been wonderful. And Tricia's we're going to choose 2 winners of the book, so we'll be letting you know who that is. But thank you so much for being on. We've really enjoyed having you answering all our questions, and good luck with the year.
Thank you very much indeed. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you very much, everyone, for watching. Bye.
Well done, everyone.
Good. Excellent.